Hello and welcome to this edition of Active Living. We're very fortunate to have Peggy Bartz with us today. Peggy Bartz is sort of a philosopher, and she is going to talk to us today about how to stay young. So Peggy, welcome to this portion of Active Living.
Thank you, George. I'm so glad to be your guest.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Anyway, we'd like to talk to you about some of your philosophies today about how to stay young.
Okay. Well, first of all, lie about your age. I tell everyone I'm 26 in my heart. I've written it on applications, and I really do feel like I'm only 26. When I look in the mirror, it looks a little different. But I really think that you are only as old as you really feel. And while we do have some physical limitations as we age, there's a lot of things you can still do. So you really have to think young and not think that you're old.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah, because you're the same way.
I tell everybody I'm still 39, but it doesn't
work.
There
Well, it doesn't work either. My daughter said one day, "But Mommy, how old are you on your fingers?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, she got me."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really do feel 26 in my heart.
Well, what sort of thing do you think is important for someone who's, let's say, over 50 and starting to think about things to do and how to stay young and how to stay active and those types of things? What kind of philosophy do you have?
You need to stay around people who have lots of energy and who like the things that you do, and you also have to have a wide variety of people that you hang out with. Hanging out with children is so good because they're so fresh and they have childlike ideas, and when you remember what it is to be a child and still play, people think that when you grow up you have to grow old. And that's not always true. The Peter Pan movie, Peter Pan wanted to stay as a perpetual child, but there's some wonderful philosophy in that you have to still be curious and you still have to figure out how to learn things. Even when you're past 50, there's so much exciting stuff to learn, and now we have the internet, and that just opens up a whole new world. And the more you learn, the more you take on, your brain keeps expanding.
When I retired, retired from doing business, I decided to go back to college.
Yay!
So, I went back and took some music courses. I've been doing music for 40 or 50 years and decided to go back and learn what I was really doing, So I took all the music theory courses and some of the orchestration courses and so on. And I had a ball doing it. And it was me and a bunch of college-age kids, which was a lot of fun.
And you probably eventually felt like you were one of them.
Well, not almost.
Almost.
Almost, but it was a lot of fun.
But I bet they had a great respect for you because you were coming back to school to learn things and they were in the process.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think, honestly, that is one of the keys, is to hang out, like I said at the beginning, with people of different age, because everyone has something to teach you.
That's true. And these kids were great. I'll tell you, they talk about, the teenagers or the college-age kids today being kind of out of it. But let me tell you, these kids were terrific. They were absolutely fantastic. They were spot on in terms of learning their courses, and they were just great.
Right. So if a senior is looking for something to do, go take a college class, because you're going to meet some amazing people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially young kids.
Yes. Or go hang out in an elementary school. They're always looking for people to read stories to the kids, or go to, do what you do for a living day. Take your, what was your career day? Any of those things. You get great perspectives.
So this whole thing kind of relates to attitude, doesn't it?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And knowing that you are a person who has obtained a certain wisdom through all the years of your life. And I think I told you, once you hit that middle time, which we will call 50 for now, because we have lifespans that are at least going to be 80, according to science, and your family's pretty much raised and your career is almost to the end, you start thinking, I have a lot of wisdom here, and I can share it. And I just talked to someone this morning who said, she's 45, and she said, there's more that I can do. Yeah, there is.
Yeah. And I think volunteerism is a big aspect too.
Yes.
Because I've become involved quite a bit at the Orion Center, and there's a lot of volunteer types of things that happen there. We've got all kinds of different clubs, and we've got all kinds of different activities that take place at the Orion Center, and we see people come in, and some of them are rather elderly, and in wheelchairs and those types of things. But when they sit down and they start doing their knitting with Glenn and some of those guys, and they start playing cards or bingo, I had an opportunity to call bingo a couple of times, and let me tell you, they're watching you like a hawk. You don't make a mistake playing bingo because they'll be on you like.
That's
like
right.
that.
Because you know what? It's an awesome activity. It's fun. There's that adventure of competition. I'm going to get this before the next person does. All that stuff, which when you do when you're a little kid.
But you know what the big part is?
The social.
Just being with people.
Yes.
Just being with people.
That is
Instead
huge.
of staying, you know, I was home this morning and I had the television on, and all it was all morning long was bad news.
Oh.
I mean, everything I watched this morning was bad news. So, you know, shut the TV off. And
Actually,
do your own thing.
George, can we say that again? Shut the TV off.
Yeah.
You have to, first of all, most of the time when you watch TV, you're sitting. Brand new, hot off the press news this morning. People who stay young and active do not sit down. That includes watching television.
And that's why we're standing up today.
That's
right?
why we're standing, because people who stand more are much healthier. You can go Google this today. It was on Yahoo. It was in the news this morning. You're much healthier when you're moving around. If you think of it, you can't leave a car sitting in a garage. All the things start wearing out. It's the same with their bodies. They're living organisms. They need to move. So I don't care if you dance around the room while you're vacuuming. Do something, move, keep standing.
That's good.
Now, if you have bad knees, that's a different issue.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that hurts. But still, you can move your arms. You can dance in a chair.
Yeah. Or you can do yoga.
Oh, yoga is so good.
Or you can do Zumba.
Now, I want you to be clear. I cannot do all the yoga poses.
No?
No, I am not a pretzel.
Okay.
Margaret and I went to a yoga class, and she turned inside out, upside down, pretzel-wise.
Well, you have to do the one here at Orion Center. Because
That I probably could do.
There's one called chair yoga that we do.
Yes. Yoga is so...
And it's great.
Yes.
You know, it gets, you know, it keeps you flexible.
Yes.
You know, which is the important thing.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to be sitting in one position forever.
No.
So you get a chance to bend and do all your stuff to keep your back flexible and all your muscles and so on.
Yoga is so good for your posture. It's good for your breathing. It helps you breathe right. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I
anyway.
brought my kaleidoscope on
Did you?
purpose. Yes, this is one of my favorite things. Usually kaleidoscopes are reserved for children. But a kaleidoscope, when you look through it, this is a very special one because it has all this little stuff, sort of like an hourglass, so it drapes on through. And I don't think we can film this, but when you look through a kaleidoscope, the perspective changes all the time. So you kind of have to, when you're a senior, if you want to call it a senior, when you have passed 50 and you're in the second half of your life, you just have to change your perspective. Instead of saying, I'm old, I'm wise. I have a lot of things to share with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
there you go.
Anyway, how about music?
Oh, George, you know I'm a musician too. We could do a whole show on music.
Yeah, we could.
I brought you my favorite book, Musicophilia, which is like the Bible of music. And it's all about music and the brain. Music is one of those things that there's absolutely no scientific explanation for music, and yet is one of the most studied issues in human beings. Why do we respond to music? Why is music, why do people who cannot speak, who have dementia and Alzheimer's, why can they repeat songs?
Right.
Because it's the science of music. I will tell you, I love science. So the science of music, it's a lot of fun to play. Don't tell anybody, but that's our big secret, right?
Yeah,
it's
I love
so much fun to play music, yes. But people love hearing music. And there's something about music that touches every single soul on every single level. It's universal. You can go to hear a symphony in Tokyo. Not one person in the orchestra could speak English, and you could be touched and moved by what they play.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, there's some major power in that. Brains all across the world are tuned to music.
Yeah, I've experienced that. You know, when I go, and sometimes we play, we have I go to Williamsburg, Virginia every year, and I'm on a staff down there, and I have a little Dixieland band, and we go out and we play at some of these senior homes, and there are people there that, like you said, have Alzheimer's. They can't remember anybody's name. They can't remember anything about, you know, even their own daughter's name, and you start playing a tune like, you know, Dark Town Strutter's Ball, and they know the words.
Yes.
They know the words.
Well,
and they sing.
Amazingly, in this book, right near the beginning, is a story about a group called the Grunions, which my brother was in the Grunions, and they interviewed a gentleman, and I actually got to watch the show. His name was Woody, wonderful human being. He had dementia and Alzheimer's. He couldn't take care of himself, and he could sing, and they filmed him singing his solo.
Really?
Live. Yes, it's in a documentary.
Wow.
And nobody still understands, except that's the power of music. If you want to stay young, do something with music. Sing, dance, play an instrument, get a drum, play a ukulele, listen to George play the
saxophone, right?
Play the saxophone, play the piano. I just can't even tell you, music is so important in keeping you young because it makes everything move. You use your right half and your left half of your brain.
Yeah.
And learning a new skill at any age is a blast. People are innately musical because we all have a heartbeat, which is the rhythm. We are born with rhythm in us.
You know, there's a group in several locations. As a matter of fact, there's a group around the world called New Horizons.
Oh, tell me about this.
And New Horizons is a group of people that have started putting bands together for people who haven't played music for years. And there's a group in Waterford, by the way, and they have turned out to be a pretty good band. So anyway, if you played music in high school or have never ever played an instrument, and you're retired and you'd like to learn how to play an instrument, they will give you lessons. They will give you free lessons. And they will, when you get to the point where you can play a few notes, then they put you in a band.
Awesome.
And you get to play with other adults. And music is such an awesome activity for me. I mean, I've moved for business, I don't know how many different times, probably probably 8 or 9 times.
Okay.
In every place I've moved, I've gotten involved with the music community in those areas. And it's an instant bunch of new friends.
Yes.
Immediately. You know, so it really works.
Yes, it's an amazing thing. There is, you just had at the library,
Right.
the Passport to Rome,
Right.
and you had your Dixieland band there, and the Gentlemen Songsters were there. That's a singing group that is a bunch of guys that love to sing, that get together, and it's a glee club.
Right.
There's a show called Glee that's very, very popular. It all revolves around music. There's so many, I could go on forever. We could have a 2-hour show about the power of music in people's lives.
Great.
Of all the things that I want to say, that's the number one. Figure out how to do music somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You can do a lot of different things. You know, you can just, get a couple of drumsticks and start beating on the
That's
table.
right. You
Or
can play
get
a pot and a
harmonica
pan.
or a guitar.
Yes.
There's guitar lessons available also around. Especially, we have a lady that used to teach guitar at the Orion Center. And I don't know if she's still doing it, but there were guitar lessons available. And
Yes.
the people taking those guitar lessons are not kids.
No.
They're over 50. They're in the second half of their life.
I just thought of a song that's pretty much from the 60s. I'd like to teach the world to sing
Right.
in perfect harmony.
Right.
And hear it echo through the hills. What's the last line?
I don't know.
Of peace and
Goodwill
harmony.
or whatever.
Yeah, awesome. But I would like to teach the world to sing.
Okay. Peggy, we're going to take just a little break here.
Okay.
And we're going to come back and we're going to talk some more about how we can stay young.
All right. I'm good with that, George.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Got clutter in your garage or cabinets or basement? Does it include hazardous materials like expired medicine, paints, yard maintenance materials, CFL bulbs? The list is long. Not sure what to do with them? The Orion Township Committee has coordinated participation in area-wide no-haz days where you can drop the material off. Great, but you don't have to wait for special days. The committee has identified local businesses that will accept drop-offs on a daily basis all year long for free. Great solution. Get rid of hazardous materials regularly and keep them from ending up in landfills as part of your regular trash pickup. The Orion Environmental Resources flyer gives all the details, types of materials and businesses that will accept them. You can get a copy of the flyer at the Orion Library, the Community Center, or Township Hall, or online at www.oriontownship.org under General Information, the Environmental section.
Welcome back to Active Living. We're back again with Peggy Bartz, a wonderful guest this afternoon, who's also known as the fairy godmother.
Yes, self-proclaimed, George. We must talk about this. This is one of my tiaras.
I love it.
Yeah, and I wore my Superwoman shirt today because, and actually, I mean, I'm not really a fairy godmother, but sometimes I have so much fun pretending. When you're a little kid, what's one of your favorite things to do? You get to play dress up.
Right.
Right. No matter who you are, little boys dress up like cowboys. Now that we have all the amazing movies, you get to be a Star Wars character, and usually only get to do that at Halloween. But when you put on an outfit, we'll call it an outfit, it makes you feel different because you feel special, you feel different than your ordinary clothes. And so what I'm trying to say is that we all are a person, and we all have different characteristics inside of us. And so we get to dress sometimes, even in our regular, ordinary, everyday clothes, in something that makes us feel special. Like you wear, when you are in your band, a tuxedo.
Yeah.
Because it's a dressy occasion.
Yeah,
and
it makes you feel special. You're right.
It does. And so even dressing in ordinary, I could wear sweatshirts and sweatpants all day, but then you feel kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
So I usually try to dress, and I am the queen of recycled shopping. I do a lot of recycling, and I shop at resale stores because there's some fun stuff there, and it doesn't cost as much. But you can dress, and you can feel younger. The kids, teenagers, jewelry stores have the best jewelry. They have lots of fun stuff, and you don't have to dress old when you're old. You can dress young and feel different because you're wearing a costume.
That's true.
Yeah. So there's a lot of power in that. And I don't wear my tiara out very often. But you know what? It's not just dressing your physical outside. It's your inside dressing that you have to remember too. That you know that you have something to share, you have something to give, and you're important.
Right.
Yeah. And the outside sometimes has to match the inside. And if you're having a bad day on the inside, sometimes it helps to dress the outside so that you feel better on the inside.
That's a good philosophy. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't ever have a rough day, though. You're a musician. We're always happy, aren't we?
Well, most of the time.
There you go.
Most of the time.
Okay. Okay.
It's just waiting for that last guy to get to the gig, 2 minutes before you're supposed to start.
I know, but that keeps your adrenaline going.
Yeah, it sure does.
Which is actually not a bad thing, to have a little adrenaline rush going on.
Yeah.
When actually people think stress is bad for us. Not all stress is bad. Stress sometimes gets us up and moving. What if I don't do this? Well, then this might happen. So stress is actually, too much stress is really dangerous to the body.
Right.
Which brings us to the health issues. Sometimes when you're older, you have health issues, and it limits what you can do.
Right.
Like, even though I'm 26 in my heart, my hips don't know that. So sometimes...
And my knees, too.
Yeah. My knees are good. It's sometimes my hips just hurt, or my shoulders, or whatever. And so you sort of adapt, and you try to de-stress yourself as much as you can with breathing, and try not to get stressed. Mm-hmm. But you still there's stress and strain on our body. So keeping healthy and eating the right foods is really important too.
There's a guy that does a show here, I think, with Ike Engelbaum.
Yes.
Who talks about diet and exercise.
Okay.
Which is, a total subject within itself, right?
It is.
And that's important, I think.
It is very
both diet
important.
and exercise are
Yes.
extremely important, especially when you get a little over 50 and, the pot starts to form. And you say, oh boy, I better do some sit-ups.
Well, the other thing that
ride
happens,
my bike or something like that.
Yes, or do yoga, or move something, or stand up for a little while. What they don't tell you when you're younger is the things you used to be able to eat and enjoy when you were younger don't always go when you're older. I've developed this issue with dairy. I don't do dairy very well, and I'm now a gluten sort of intolerant person, which is becoming more and more thought about in our world. And there's all kinds of ties with gluten, and we're a wheat-based society, but we didn't used to be throughout history. So a lot of science. One of the things that I love to do, which really I know this keeps me young, is to continually learn. Mm-hmm. Go to the library. I love the library. Pick up a magazine, learn something new every day. That old philosophy, you need to learn something new every day, is absolutely true.
It works.
just like eating an apple.
Well, it keeps your brain active, right?
It does. And so many studies, people do Sudoku puzzles, they do crossword puzzles. It keeps your brain going. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My mother was a freak on Scrabble. She loved Scrabble.
Yes, I'm a Scrabble player.
And she's 94 years old and she's still beating me.
Well, George, you need to get a dictionary out and start reading.
I know.
I'll take you on Scrabble one day.
You probably beat me
I'm
too.
Superwoman, remember?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And a word warrior. I love words.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Which also goes along with the reading and the, only to pick up things that are fun, fluffy is okay, like novels and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great stuff out there that you can read that you actually learn something and have fun at the same time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. One of the things that I do is try to take part in some organizations as well.
Like?
Like the North Oakland Concert Band. It's
Yes.
a great opportunity. It's an organization. It's a social group. It gives me an opportunity to play the music and an opportunity to perform for the public,
Yes.
all those things. And it's great.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of those kinds of, not that kind of particular organization, but there's a lot of organizations that anybody can take part in.
Yes, and I happen to be a Rotarian in
Okay.
Lake Orion Rotary, and I'm part of Love in the Name of Christ, which is a Christian outreach program.
Right.
And the more things that you figure out how to connect yourself, you're making more relationships.
Right.
You're actually helping your body be healthier.
And you're helping other people.
And
at the same
usually,
time.
almost all organizations like to eat.
Oh, really?
And socialize and eat and socialize at the same time. That's a well-kept secret. If you want to get people together to do something, feed them.
That's probably true.
Because you know what? Honestly, it feeds your soul and it feeds your physical body.
And it feeds your social life.
And it feeds your social life.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, like I assume in a lot of things that the ladies do. For example, we got this knitting group here. And I know that's not only ladies, it's also guys too.
Okay.
But, we've got the knitting group, we've got, the dinner club, we got the breakfast club, we got, I'm not sure I don't think the Red Hats work out of the Orion Center. But
I don't think so.
But there's a Red Hat organization, all those kinds of things that people could become involved with and expand their social life, which is important.
It is very important to keep all those social connections. The knitting group, I want to talk about that for a second. Way back when, they had quilting bees,
Right.
where women would get together at the house and finish a quilt together.
Right.
It wasn't just about the quilting. That was the great part, but it was also a socializing.
Right.
So they would the women would get together and talk about their husbands,
Yeah.
maybe. But it was a social thing, and little children learned how to eventually do that skill and that craft, and they would hang around their moms, but it was a way for people to gather.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom used to have what they call a sewing club.
Yes.
And they would get together at my house, and I would be upstairs in bed. There'd be like 15 women downstairs. It was like a bunch of chickens,
George,
going on all the time.
do you know how much wisdom was there?
But
Chickens.
But they were having a great time. I mean, they were
Yes.
all talking away, at
Yes.
90 miles an hour, but they were
Yes.
having fun. And they laugh and have a great time.
Oh, yeah. And they were accomplishing a task at the same time.
Yeah, they were.
Well, and see, that's really the internal of an organization. People get together around a common cause, whatever it is, whether it's a quilt or knitting, and they socialize together around a common cause. This is not a commercial for Rotary, but that's how Rotary started. The guy who started it said, "Oh, I wonder if other professional people would like to just get together." And Rotary became, because they rotated between their offices.
Right.
And now it's this huge organization that does all kinds of amazing things in the world. From this guy having an idea, oh, I think I'll meet with this person and this person and this person.
Yeah.
So you never know. The Red Hat ladies started the same way. Oh, I'm kind of bored. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
How about I find a red hat? And we'll wear red hats and go out to a restaurant. Now they're everywhere.
Yeah, you're right. They
Yeah.
are.
It's awesome.
But there's a lot of other activities like, there's card groups.
Yes.
A big one in our neighborhood is bunco.
I know lots of bunco players.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not just about the cards, even though it's fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I hear.
I love playing euchre. And
so do I.
euchre parties are a blast. First of all, you have to rotate between other people.
Right.
And there's a chance to win money. You got competition. Oh yeah, it's a game.
Yeah.
Game. Kids, little kids are not the only ones that get to play games.
Yeah,
We do
that's
too.
true.
Yeah.
I love euchre.
I do too.
We have a biking group that goes out a couple times a year, and this year we're going to go to Vermont. We're going to ride in Vermont. We've got about 20 some odd people going, and we're going to have a ball.
You don't mean the people are odd. You mean 20 people.
20 odd people. Most of them are pretty odd. But anyway, we have a great time. Anyway, we're going to Vermont. But at night what we do? Play euchre.
Oh, awesome. Could I come?
Sure.
I'm not really good in the biking, but I could love to play euchre.
Okay.
You know what, George? That brings
Can
me
you
to
drink beer too?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're okay.
Gluten-free beer. Laughing. I cannot tell you how important laughing is.
Really?
And having fun, telling jokes, telling stories. Yes. Laughter is the best medicine. There's a Reader's Digest thing that is about laughing, but there are constant studies about laughing. If you're not feeling good, you're supposed to watch funny movies.
Well, that probably makes sense.
Oh, yeah. In fact, you have a radio show somewhere around here, don't you? The Abbott and Costello, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know, is on third?
Well, we're going to do that in the future, I think.
You are?
But we've done a couple of shows. We've done The Lone Ranger. Mm-hmm. Evelyn Doyle has put together a kind of an acting group, a play group, to put together some wonderful plays.
Oh,
and
like people dress up in costumes and act. Ooh, more playing. There you go.
So we've done the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
And we've done The War of the Worlds, which is a huge production.
But scary.
Yeah. But we had great fun doing that.
Cool.
And
well, when Abbott and Costello come around, we need to do that.
Who's on first?
What's on second? I don't know. He's on third.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're gonna have some fun with that one too.
Yes. Well, that is really, truly. I mean, musicians have fun because we get to play music, but laughing is second to music in my world.
Yeah, and acting is part of that.
Yes.
Especially if you're in a funny play.
Yes.
Like Evelyn and I just did the Bickersons.
Oh, they're hysterically funny.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
There's some great lines in there.
There are. Yes.
So anyway, we had a ball doing that. But anyway, those are the kinds of things that we try to do, and we try to get other people interested to take part in these kinds of activities. That's what I think is so important about the Orion Center. It gives us a location where we can kind of pull all these things together,
yes.
and we can bring these people in and do these kinds of activities. And it doesn't make any difference whether you do yoga or knitting or whatever. It's a social activity that takes place at the Orion Center, and people can take advantage of that, or they can sit home and watch the bad news on TV.
That's not such a good idea. But the Orion Center is still in its growing up phase, and all kinds of new programs can happen. Is there a laughter club yet?
Not yet.
There's an acting club?
Yes.
There's no laughing club yet. We got to work on that. Music club. Who wants to start a band? I'm a clarinet player from way back.
Okay, well, maybe we ought to do it together.
I think it would be a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, start a band.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, can we call you?
Sure.
All right.
Why not?
George, I want to be in the band that's not formed yet. Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're coming kind of close to the end here. Any final thoughts, that you'd like to express in terms of overall happiness for people, let's say, past their 50s?
All right. Well, I have my own philosophy. I actually wrote a little paper once I turned 50. You have to push away the people who don't make you laugh or don't make you feel good on the inside. I wear sparkles all the time, and my license plate even says sparkle. And I really believe this in my whole heart, and as time's gone on, it's even more true. The sparkle is a verb. It's not my name. I wear a pin that says sparkle a lot of times. But it's a verb, and it means to shine. And I think that no matter what age you are, you can shine.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much
Thank
for coming.
you, George.
It's been great having you here today.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll see you again.
Okay.
And thank you very much for joining us.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.